Hey guys, I thought I would do a little video demonstration of this particular assignment. So Git and GitHub it's a little different. It's not exactly related to statistics, but we are all informatics students. So GitHub provides a great way for us to share information and to collaborate with others. And you're going to see a lot of materials that people share on GitHub. So I've incorporated GitHub into the way I'm working with assignments in this class. And so this assignment is here to introduce you to Git and GitHub. Normally, Git and GitHub were developed for software development and version control and keeping track of different versions as software gets created and updated, and being able to revert back to prior versions, and also collaborate with multiple individuals working on different pieces of code in the same program at the same time. But we're just going to use it to store our assignments, and you're going to turn in a link to your repository. So I thought I would just show how this works. You can read through some of this introductory information up here. And the first thing that we're going to learn is how to fork a repository. So this, you'll see it has here in the address bar this GitHub address, and this is a GitHub repository. So you'll have your own repository, and if I go to my introduction page, you can see if I click on the repositories section, then you can see different repositories that I have here, and this is the one that we're working on. So this is the GitHub repository. I've got some image files that I've used in this page here, and I've just put them here in the repository for my ease of use. So they're nothing that's going to impact you guys very much, but they're just files in the repository. And then this is a README page. The little .md stands for Markdown, and if you're in GitHub, and I'm actually not signed into this account, I'm going to go ahead and sign into my account here, and I don't want to save my password. And so you can actually edit these markdown pages. Let's go ahead and show it to you. If you click the little edit button, you'll see it uses some little shorthand codes for doing some formatting. A pound sign as a header. You can use an asterisk to make a bulleted list. So they're really easy to use, and so I've loved using these for making assignments because I can edit it when I need to make some changes. And this is something you guys can make a repository and do too, and we're going to get practice doing these things. But forking the repository. So I have created this assignment, and this is in my GitHub account. You guys can get your own copy of this assignment by going up to the top and clicking on this fork button. Now, I won't click on it because I'm in my own account and I can't fork to my own repository, and I've given you a couple warnings that you can only fork a repository once. So once you fork this repository from my account to yours, it won't let you do it again because it's already there. And also, you can't fork a repository which is already in your own account. So if I tried to fork this, it's going to give me a warning that it's going to say, should it go somewhere else? So no. So that is how you fork it, and once you do, you're going to have your own copy of this exact thing. So you actually can download files directly to your computer without doing much else, and I've given you a little demonstration of how you do that. So to download the files, you're going to go up here to the need to be out of editing. You're going to go up here to the code button and hit download zip, and you'll notice that you download a zip folder. If I open that up, and I have an option on Windows to extract that file, and I go ahead and extract it, it's going to give me a little dialog. Usually this is checked, show extracted files when complete. If I extract that, then it's going to show me this folder, and you're going to see all these image files which I had in there. So nothing too exciting, but that's a way that you can easily get the files, a copy of them onto your computer. So that is the first thing you can do. You can actually upload files directly to GitHub, and that's what I did with these image files. So if you go up to add a file and click on upload files, you'll get this dialog where you can either drag files directly there, or you can use the browser window and choose your files. I'm not going to drag anything there because I don't need anything extra. Once you make your changes, you go down and click on the green commit changes button, and you will see your files show up here in the repository. So really easy way. If you don't want to clone it, then you can just download the zip file, do your work, and upload your completed files into the repository, and you can copy the link to the repository and then turn that in our course software. So that's really easy. Normally, using this in more of a regular software development workflow, we're actually going to clone the repository. And what cloning means is you're going to create a copy of the repository on your local computer. And because this is statistics and not computer science, I don't care if you understand the ins and outs of Git and GitHub. I did put some links there so you can go read a little bit more about them if you have interest, but you don't need to know it for this class. All you really need to know is you have your online repository and you can make a copy. You can either download the files to your computer and work on them and re-upload them, or you can use Git and clone the repository, and then that creates a copy on your computer, but there's a link between the copy on your computer and the online repository. So you can use these things from the command line, and again, I'm not going to make you do that in this class. For working with repositories, VS Code is a great lightweight editor for coding. We're not going to really use it in this class, but I like it a lot. It's pretty easy to use and has things for different languages like web development, Python, and things like that. So we use it in my other courses. But you can use it for managing a repository and syncing your local copy with your remote copy. So to do that, we're going to go up to the repository, and we need to get the URL for our repository. So you click on code and you click on the little copy button, and then in VS Code we're going to go to the command palette, and there's a couple ways you can get there. You can either use the little gear icon down here and go to command palette, and you'll see we get an option up there, or you can use view and go to command palette, and there's also a keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-P in Windows. I don't know what it is in a Mac. And there's an option, you need to have Git installed already, and I do on this machine. So we have Git Clone, and then it asks for the URL for your repository, and this is where we're going to paste the URL that we just copied and hit enter. And it's going to ask you where you want to put this, and I have a folder that I want to use in documents, and I've made a folder for this course, and I'm going to select that folder and hit select repository location, and you'll see it goes through a little bit and asks me would I like to open the cloned repository, and I'm going to open it, and you'll see now that I have this folder here. And if I go to my window and click in my folder, and you'll see that I've now got a folder for this assignment. If I go in there, you'll see all the files that I had before. But this folder, you'll see there's this extra file in here, this .git file. And this is Git having instructions for where it's linked to on an external repository. So that makes things really handy because I can change things in here and push it to my remote repository. So I'm actually going to show you that in this assignment. We cloned it, and then we can push our changes to our GitHub repository, and there's some instructions here. So at the bottom of this assignment, you need to make a text file and put it, upload it to this repository. And I'm going to go ahead and make this text file in this cloned repository, which I just made. So I'm going to go to VS Code, and I need to make a file with this name, GitHub for assignments.txt. So I'm going to go into this repository, and in VS Code you can make a new file by hovering over this new file icon, and I'm going to say GitHub for assignments.txt. And now there's a new file, and I'm editing it. And because Git is installed here, you'll see this has U. I think that means it's an untracked assignment right now for my version control. And you'll see that I have this little blue number that shows up over this version control icon. This means I've made a change in this folder. And right now it's not tracked, but we're going to make some more changes. And I want you to write a short description of which method you think you'll use to put your completed assignments on GitHub in the text file and save it to your computer. So I will use all the methods. I'll use whatever is convenient for me at the time. And you'll see here in VS Code, this little solid dot means it's not saved yet. If I can hit Control S, it saves it, and you'll see that is saved right there. And then I want you to use whatever your preferred method is and get that file into your GitHub repository. So since I have this in my cloned repository, I'm going to go to the version control icon, and you'll see I've got this untracked change here. And whenever we make a commit of a change, then I'm going to say we usually put some kind of a commit message there. So, usually you want to do something a little descriptive of what you did. I'm just going to use a very generic first commit message. And you have to click this little checkbox to make the commit. It says it's not staged. Would I like to stage it? And I'm going to click yes to that. And you'll see this now comes up with a very convenient sync changes button. You can just click right on that. In the instructions, I gave you this little more actions button, and you'll see down at push, pull, and sync. So that little blue button that came up, that wasn't in older versions of VS Code, but it's there now. But I'm going to go ahead and hit sync, and it's going to push my things to that means it's going to my remote repository, and I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see it's got a little progress running bar there, and now it has stopped. And you'll see that this number has disappeared, and if I go back to the Explorer window, you'll see that I have all my previous files, but I also have this new text file that I put in there. And hopefully, if everything worked correctly, if I go back to my online repository and refresh it, GitHub for assignments.txt, and you'll see there's my commit message, and that was just uploaded. And since this is just a text file, a .txt file, that's something that you can actually edit directly in GitHub. Click on that. If you make a change and you go down to the Commit Changes button, then there's your change right there. So anyway, that is a little demonstration of using some of the methods that are shown in this exercise and how we will load completed assignments into a GitHub repository, and then we can copy this address for our repository and turn that in for your assignments. And I've written some of what I think are some of the advantages here. I know this are some extra steps, but I think for our background in informatics, this is really useful, some useful skills to have under our belt. So I think it's well worth the effort to learn this a little bit extra and practice it this semester, so that it's something you will have as you move forward in your professional career. I hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.